Good evening, guys. I've accidentally come across a way that I could help you, who is a beginner, as well as to the most advanced drone racer on the planet, using just 4 flags and a dive gate. I call it the Fluff Tower. Jumping right into it, we're going to start with straight gates. So the way I have this tower set up, I just have 4 flags that are set up about 10 meters apart from each other. And then I have the dive tower right in the middle, which is just some 3/4 inch PVC with a bungee cord and a piece of yellow fabric over it. So all I'm doing here is I'm making runs between anywhere between 15 feet to about 150 feet. I'm going straight through. Now the thing that I'm focused on right here is I'm accelerating towards the gate and continuing the acceleration during and after it. I'm not porpoising after the gate. I'm not jumping up. So that's a really bad habit to get into, is when you start punching the throttle as soon as you get through a gate. I know that you know what I'm talking about. Whether you're brand new or you've been doing this for 4 years. So you can see here I'm just doing it from different, I'm entering from different distances. So here's about 15 feet. Here's about 15 feet. Here's about 15 feet. And here's about 150 feet. So the same thing, I'm keeping my eye on it and I'm not jumping up after the gate. Super, super good to keep in mind, guys. Super good way that I like to warm up the fingers even before a race. You can just do this outside of the hotel or whatever, just going straight through and just getting that elevation control down. Really important, guys. Sure, you do this both to the left and the right, and your weaker side, you want to do it more. So say if you're weaker going to the right, do it like 20% more times going to the right. Moving on to 180 turns into a gate. So this here is this here could be a tricky maneuver for a lot of people, including myself. The way that I figured out that I do this is I know that there's going to be a gate about 6 feet in after the flag, so I'm just aiming 6 feet in and I'm going into their blind. You can do a drift turn where you turn and look at the gate, such as that. See, I'm turning and snapping and looking at the gate before I'm turning in, but what you could do is just start getting used to your situational awareness. And you do this to the same thing. You want to go to the left, you want to go to the right, left and right. This is a really good way to practice these maneuvers. Sweepers. So this bad boy is what kills a lot of racers, because sweepers are kind of like a light track style maneuver. A light track style maneuver meaning something like a predetermined racetrack, like a traditional F1 car racing track. There's a predetermined line. And what I'm doing here is I am focused on the next maneuver in front. So I'm looking at the flag, gate, flag, flag, gate, flag, flag, gate, flag, flag, gate. So the problem here is a lot of people try to make an adjustment. And the biggest issue with making an adjustment on this type of maneuver is that you're going to pay for it in the future somewhere. Usually you're going to try to make a correction. You're going too fast. You get off that predetermined race line and you smash into the next gate or the next flag because you're slightly bit offline. So this is a super duper good way to practice sweepers. So you can see here, I'm going to both the left and the right, and I'm trying to maintain that elevation and stay smooth on the sticks. It's all about being smooth on sweepers. Give it a shot. How I do this is I'm looking at the inside of the gate and I'm treating that right side right there like it's a flag. If you can do that, you won't be so overwhelmed when going fast through a lot of gates. You're going to treat them all like flags. Figure 8 time. So figure 8 is a really good way for you to get your fingers warmed up once again and making both your left and right both sweeping turns and sharp turns. So you can see here I'm using that fluff tower as a way for me to go either super loose or really tight in my turns. This is a really, really good maneuver to practice your elevation control and your fine motor movement. Especially if it's like a cold day outside, this is a really, really good way to get yourself warmed up. And also, it's super, super tight, so you can set it up even in your backyard. Hairpins. All right, so this is just a good way to get your timing down. Whether you're on practice day, before a race, just make sure you go both to the left and both to the right and get that timing down. Really, really good maneuver here. This is where you want to figure out your rates. This is an easiest way to figure out, is it too snappy for me or is it too loose and too slow? I figured out that I like to sit at about 400 degrees per second on pitch and roll and about 200 on yaw. 360 turns. So a lot of times in these new racetracks, you'll have a section where you have to make, say, almost a 360 or maybe even a 720. So the way that I'm doing this is I'm just keeping my eye on that flag as I'm practicing going around each of them. So I'm practicing both to the left and to the right. And you can see here, you can start getting really rowdy and getting that snap down, getting that timing down. So yeah, you really want to practice these snap turns as well. High speed turns. All right, this could be super easy. Also, this is where a lot of the fastest pilots are going to crash, because the fastest guys are going to be carving that apex for the absolute tightest turn. In my experience here, what I've kind of learned is I've gotten crazy to the point where I'm trying to get inches away from the flags. And what I figured out is just give yourself a couple of feet. Give yourself a couple of feet. It's not worth it unless you're in the final and you're behind. Then you apex as close as you can. But I'm just going around these, and I'm entering them from different angles, and I'm exiting from different angles. This is another good way to maintain that elevation control and that fine motor movement. Again, give yourself a couple of feet. Dives. We are going to learn to do different dives, guys. So here is a good way. I'm actually using each flag to give me a nice reference point as to where my dive gate is. I'm going both to the left and to the right. Very important, guys. Practice more on your weak side. Mine's my right, so I want to make sure I practice going to the right at least 20% more than going to my left. So let's take a peek here in slow motion. You could see here I'm keeping my eye on the gate the entire time. As I'm going up, I'm staring at that gate, and that's going to let me drop right in every single time. Very, very important, guys. Never take your eye off of the opening of that dive gate. Very important. Number one, don't take your eye off the opening of that dive gate. So again, here I'm just going to the right now, and you can see my right is my weak side. I want to keep that opening right in my view the entire time. Now I know I'm using flags here as a reference point. We'll get into the more advanced dives in an open field after this. For right now, just come around those flags, straight up, and drop right into that dive. Every single time. If you crash, it's okay. It's super, super close. You can just go pick it up. It's a tiny walk of shame. Power loops. So this is something you're going to start seeing more and more in racetracks. So power loops are kind of tricky, as it's really hard to do a power loop without some sort of a reference point. So what I've learned how to do is I try to keep my eye on the gate as usual. As long as I keep my eye on the gate, I don't seem to jump up too high, or I don't come too low and throttle into the ground. Check it out in slow-mo here. So you can see right here, I'm looking at that gate the entire time. The second I lose track of where that gate is when I get into trouble. So you want to watch that gate the whole time. So you say you don't know how to dive. Well, let's learn how to dive. Check this out. Using the fluff tower, I'm staying on the inside of the flags, which is forcing me to stay close enough to the tower as I slowly do a toilet bowl maneuver, and I just rise up. So I'm keeping that thing in view the whole time, slowly rising up, and see how it's naturally pushing me right into the opening? This is how you learn how to dive. If you've never dove before, this is the easiest, most straightforward way that you can practice this. Stay on the inside of those four flags, keeping your eye on that dive tower, both going to the left and the right. And you're toilet bowling. You're just coming straight up and slowly dropping in. Split S maneuvers are really not that difficult. There's a few different methods of doing this. One is just coming over the top of a gate and then just turning with kind of a yaw and a yaw roll maneuver. The way that I like to do it is I keep my eye on the gate as usual. I go over and I keep my eyes staring at that gate. Watch, take a look in slow-mo. So as I'm coming right over the gate, I'm staring at it. As long as I stare at that gate, I never get into trouble with my split S's. What I learned when I get into trouble with the split S's is when I start doing them blindly. Now, blind is going to be a little bit faster, and you'll see here I start doing them a little more blind. That's going to come down to your timing and your rhythm. And that's something that you're going to have to figure out as a pilot. Everyone does these a little bit different. The way that I like to do it is I'll slightly pitch up, and I will go slightly inverted, but I keep my eye on the gate, and I keep my speed flowing. Hurdles and slurdles. So a hurdle is basically when you're coming over an object and then dropping right back down. You're using gravity, and you're also pitching up. You're pitching back and you're pitching forward to get up and over the object and then get right back down on the deck so you can get into a gate that's possibly waiting for you at the bottom. A slurdle is a very strange way of explaining the same exact maneuver, except you're going left to right, right to left. So you can see here I'm practicing going to the right. So this is a right slurdle. You want to practice going to both the right and the left. This is very, very important maneuver because this is becoming a more and more common thing that I'm seeing in, say, the multi-GP style racetracks. So make sure you're strong by going both straight forward, to the left, and to the right. Super, super important, guys. You want to practice these maneuvers. You will see them. Anti-gravity gates. So this one you're really going to start seeing more and more because it's a maneuver that flows very naturally for drone racing. So this is where you're going to be basically coming from the bottom and then shooting up, opposite of a dive gate. Check it out in slow-mo. So what I am doing is as I'm approaching, I'm getting really low to the ground and I'm staring at that opening. As soon as I'm through, I'm punching and I'm doing a little hurdle maneuver, pitching straight back forward to get right back down on the deck. So I'm simulating here that I'm wanting to get through a gate that's straight forward. So this is going to be an anti-gravity with a gate going straight forward without turning. You also want to get comfortable with doing an anti-gravity, but both going to a 90-degree angle left and a 90-degree angle right. You never know which way that the race course is going to want to shoot you. Every course is different. So you can see I'm doing the same thing, except I'm just slowly rolling left as I'm going through the gate. But I'm still keeping my eye on it. Always keeping my eye on exactly where the opening is. As soon as I'm through, I'm already thinking about the next gate. Make sure, guys, do this to both the left and the right. Again, make sure that you practice going to your weaker side 20% more of the time. You never want to actually have a weak side. So here I'm practicing my rights because obviously I don't like going to my right quite as much, but I want it to be just as natural going either way. So here I'm going to practice doing my anti-gravity and coming right back where I came from. I'm doing a 180 turn. So again, I'm just looking at that gate and I'm accelerating out of it towards my next possible gate or flag. Super important, guys. I'm going both left and right again. And the biggest thing is I'm always keeping an eye on that gate. Always keep an eye on the gate. That's the trick here. You keep an eye as you're accelerating towards it, and you want to make it one fluid motion. There's no need to do any Immelmans or power loops here. This is the cleanest, easiest, most safest way, and this is the best way that I've learned personally how to get around this maneuver. I got to give Junebug a lot of credit for this because I was actually doing a power loop and then kind of doing an inversion. And I watched her. She did this once. This was the most natural way that she did it. So I totally bit her style. Thanks, baby. So an anti-gravity to gravity gate is something that I saw at the most recent International Open. On their little spec track, they had a kind of an air bridge that was coming up into a dive section right after. So I'm simulating that I'm going up one gate and then down through a gate that's, say, to the left of it. And if I go to the right side, I'm going to turn to the right. So this is basically where you're going one way and then turning 180 and coming right back where you came from into a different gate. You can see it here in slow-mo. So all I'm doing is the same exact thing. There's no secret. As I'm approaching, I'm keeping my eye on the opening and then I'm looking at the gate next to it, which is actually the same gate in this scenario. So I would be turning left into a gate that's going left and coming right back where I came from. And I'm going to do this on both the left and the right side. So this is super important, guys, because we've already seen this maneuver being put in. So simulating here that I have a gravity gate on the right side of me entering my anti-gravity, I'm actually turning left so I can keep my eye on, say, the gate right there. And this, so every time you want to turn, you want to drop into a gate to your right, you want to turn left on your way up. Check it out here in slow-mo. I'm turning left, there's my gate. Even though it's the same exact gate, I'm simulating that there's a gate right next to it, to its right. So again, if I want to turn right, I'm rolling left. There's my opening. It's super safe. It's super fast. And honestly, this maneuver is kind of the one that's going to separate the pilots who are going to finish the race or crash out. Very, very important, guys. If you want to go right, you roll left. And here it's just going to be the opposite. If you're wanting to go left, you're going to roll right. There's your opening. Same exact thing. If you want to go left, you roll right. Go left, roll right. Let's check it out here in slow-mo. So I'm entering up, I'm turning, keep my eye on the gate, rolling right, going to the left. Here we go again. Entering up, I'm rolling right, going to my left. I'm never taking my eye off that opponent, which is my gate opening. Roll right, go left. Very good maneuver. So let's say you have an anti-gravity into a gravity right in front of you. I'm going to show you right here. You're going to enter it and do a little power loop, and now you're simulating going straight forward. So this time you're rolling back, going straight. You're always doing the opposite of which way that gate is. Rolling back, going straight. Again, I'm using the one single gate here, but I'm simulating there's a gate just on the far side of that opening. So again, roll back, go straight. Check it out here in slow-mo. So I'm picturing there's a gate just in front of that gate, or I'm sorry, behind that gate. So say if I'm going up, there is a gate just further than that opening. And that's the way you do that. You do a little roll back, a tiny little power loop. It's just a little blip. I call this the captain blip. You're going to come straight up to the opening, keep your eye on that second opening, and drop right in. This is going to be the best way to get through this maneuver. And obviously, as you get your timing down, you can start making that little flip a little bit tighter and tighter. But that just comes with your own personal timing, your own rates. This is something that you're going to have to fill out. So you'll see here I start getting a little bit closer, a little bit tighter, a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. And I'll almost be skimming right over the top of that net by the time I'm fully ready. This is all up to you to get that practice. All right, let's go into open field dives. So this is, in my personal opinion, the most difficult maneuver in drone racing, is hitting a little dive gate in an open field. Now, what I figured out is I like to roll to the left. So what am I going to do? I'm going to practice more on my right. But look at this. If I want to enter an open 5x5 dive gate, I line up on the right side of the gate if I want to roll left. Very simple. You can see it right here in slow-mo. I'm aimed at that right side, rolling left, and I'm dropping right in, very similar to a split S. I pitch back, and I drop right in. Now let's go to the right side. We'll do a couple lefts there. Here we go. Let's go to the right side. Now, going to the right, I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm starting on the left side of that dive gate, and I'm rolling right the same way I would do a right split S. But you can see I never take my eye off of that dive gate. This is the hardest maneuver because you have no point of reference. This is all about timing. This is going to be entirely up to you as a racing pilot to practice your timing and get this down. Once you have it down, every single racetrack will be exactly the same if it has a dive gate in an open field. This is all on you guys, all on you. This is the way that I've learned, and I can nail a dive gate almost every single time, and believe me, I was very, very weak at doing this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the very last obstacle in this tutorial video. So, only thing left now is a little bit of play time. Let's put it all in play. I'm just going to make a little race course doing anti-gravities, split S's, sweepers, power loops, hurdles, slurdles, everything. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. This is just an inspirational part for you to go out and tear it up. And I really, really hope this helps you. This is about as much as I can give. I don't have all the skills as far as YouTube, vlogging, blogging, this and that. But I have a lot of failures, guys. This is all my failures that I am trying to teach to you not to make my same mistakes. It's going to come down to you putting in the time now. You got to get in there and get the stick time. There is nothing else that I could do to make you do this better. I'm giving you the basic information. This is as most straightforward as it gets. So go out, tear some packs up, crash some stuff. It's okay. Don't get discouraged. It will get better, I promise. Enjoy the rest of the vid, guys. Later.